Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to get started on your grid drawing project. So at this point you should have your picture printed out in color. It should already be cut into two pieces. You'll want to take your drawing paper and glue the smaller half of your picture on off to the side so that there's room to draw the rest of the picture on. Please use a glue stick when you glue this on. The glue bottles will make your picture really wavy. Okay. To draw the grid, you need to start by measuring this picture. Now when I cut them for you, I made them pretty well rounded off numbers. If you're using one of these metal rulers, the ruler starts at the end of the ruler here. If you're using a plastic one, there's usually like a little line with a 0 on it, and that's where the 0 starts, or the 1 inch starts. So please pay attention to what kind of ruler you picked. So my picture is 6 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my ruler up against the picture, and with a pencil I'm going to mark at 6 inches. And I'm going to do that in two places because we always need two dots to connect together to make a line. So then I'm going to hold my ruler up against those two lines, connect them to draw a line. Okay? Then I'm just going to line my ruler up with the edge of my picture to my line here, line it up with the edge of my picture, going out to my line here, and that should give me the shape of my paper. So you can always just lay your picture on it to double check that it all fits on there. Okay. Okay, once you have that done, this is where I'm going to be doing my actual drawing, but I'm going to make a grid, a 1 inch by 1 inch grid inside of this box, and then I'm going to make the same grid on the other half of my picture. So I'm going to take my ruler, and now I need to do this very lightly with my pencil because eventually I'm going to erase this grid. It will not be part of my final picture. I'm going to mark every 1 inch. Now for the sake of you seeing it on the computer screen, I'll have to draw a little darker. But please, please draw as lightly as you can. You will be frustrated with yourself later if you do not. So I'm going to line up. I guess I should have explained what I was doing. As I laid my ruler down, every inch I made a little mark. So on the 1, on the 2, okay? I did that in 2 spots. I'm going to lay my ruler down, and I'm going to start connecting those lines lightly. So I'm going to do that all the way across. I think you guys probably get the idea from there. I'm going to do the same thing going up and down. So 1 inch. Please be fairly precise about where you're drawing those little lines. Last year, remember, if you had my class, we did a grid with that math project. So this should be somewhat of a review for you. Line your ruler up. Now, if you're a smidgen off, it's not going to matter. But if when you finish this, you're way off and your boxes are not consistent, you probably did something wrong. So it's a good idea as you're going to just double check that you are at the right point. So when you're done with this, you'll have a 1 inch by 1 inch grid on this whole paper. I didn't do those last couple just to save you from having to sit here and watch this video for longer. Now I'm going to do the same thing on top of my picture. If a pencil isn't dark enough to see on your picture, you could use a marker or a pen. But on here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark off every inch at the top, every inch at the bottom, and then I'm going to line those lines up together and draw my grid on. So it's not easy to see on the computer screen, but I do have lines going here. This ruler is not an inch wide. So you cannot just line up your ruler, move it down, line up your ruler. That won't work because this is not 1 inch across. It's a little bigger than that. Once you're done with your grid, you can mark on here if you'd like A, B, C, and you could mark that same thing on here on your picture. But whatever is inside of this box that will end up here is what you're going to draw inside of this box. Whatever in this box here is going to end up in this box. So as I'm drawing my picture onto here, I'm going to look in box A. I'm just going to draw this last grid line on here to make it a little easier to explain. But this is box A here, and this petal that I can see right here goes about halfway, a little more. It starts at about halfway across and goes down a little more than halfway over. So when I draw that petal over here, I'm going to start at about halfway. Okay, and then when I draw this petal, it comes up from about here, out of that line, and then in box B, at about mostly down to the end of the 1 inch here, this petal comes up and across this way. So my next step after I draw on all the grid lines is to start drawing in box by box all of the details. And you should have, it should be like a road map. It shouldn't be too difficult because you're only going to be drawing in one small section at a time. You shouldn't have to worry about the whole picture as a whole. So just worry about what's in box A, what's in box B, and kind of work your way across and down however it's more feels most convenient for you or feels most comfortable for you. So you're just going to start with the outlines. Please don't shade anything in at this point because you're just going to have the outlines on, and then after that you'll be erasing the grid lines.